Hey, everybody, welcome to the Outer Belt. I'm Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
Zucchini bread.
And Jerry.
Oh, and we're coming to you live. Not live. It's sort of
We're live.
We're alive from the Outer Belt Studios in Columbus, Ohio. I am so glad to be here today. It's been a crazy, crazy few weeks, but first and foremost, we got to talk about the breaking news out of California. The California Air Resource Board has suspended its regulations to phase out diesel trucks and locomotives.
They requested an EPA waiver on advanced clean fleets.
Advanced clean fleets. That's what it is.
They have dropped that request from the EPA. So when they make this rule or ruling, it has to go to the EPA. CARB, California Air Resource Board, they make a ruling that covers California, but the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the federal government, has to approve it.
So just to back up a little history,
Right.
So CARB is California's EPA.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
EPA that just does its state.
Just California.
And they are by far the strictest of
Very
air
strict.
standards, which makes sense. If you look at like an old 1970s movie it's based in California, Los Angeles, you can't see nothing.
You can't.
There's no mountains back there,
nothing.
It's
Just
just brown and
Yep.
nasty.
Yep.
And when you go to Los Angeles today, you're like, wow, wildfires. No, our hearts are with everybody there impacted. But when you go to Los Angeles now, it's actually quite clear.
It is quite clear.
And looks beautiful, blue skies. You got all the mountains around you.
Yeah.
You do have smoggy days, but they're few and not nearly as frequent as it used to be.
I remember growing up as a kid, you couldn't see from where I lived in South LA, you couldn't see the Hollywood sign because of the haze. Every now and again, wind blew, you could see the Hollywood sign. And then as I grew older, I realized, wow, you can see the Hollywood sign daily now because of the emission standards that came into effect.
I've seen it every single time I've been to LA. Like I've never even thought that you wouldn't be able to see it. That's crazy. CARB has done a lot of really good work in the state to get emissions down. A lot of the emissions that we all deal with today are because of emission standards are because of what CARB put out 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Some have been great. Like I think all of us are happy pretty much that unleaded gas is the norm and that we have catalytic converters in our cars, and it's a reliable piece of technology. Every now and then you got to replace a which stinks, but I mean most of them now are good for 200,000-300,000 miles. Yep. So it's a reliable source of emissions cleaning, and they've made some good strides. The current DEF SCR system on diesel trucks is actually really good. It's really good. It's fairly reliable.
Fairly
reliable. And actually, the system works fine.
The system works fine. It's the sensors that cause problems.
If only the sensors could be made better. But nobody wants to do that because they got you on the hook to come back and get new sensors. Yeah,
exactly.
I get it. Products designed to fail. That's a whole new topic we could discuss. But anyways, so emissions level of all these big trucks and everything's come down quite a bit over the years, and there's been dramatic improvement in air quality going on for a long time now. And again, California's kind of spearheaded this, but you do see other major cities like New York City is also experiencing quite a bit less haze because of it. They also help with like emissions from smokestacks, from refineries, things like that, because California does have a large refining presence as well. I think they might be the second largest refiner or third.
Yeah.
They're big.
Like after Texas, I think.
I think so. They're not like an evil organization, but we kind of portray them.
Some folks think they are.
We kind of portray them that way.
We
really do, because they tend to be very zealous and like we want the future now.
Right.
And so over the years, I've seen quite a few times where California will implement a plan, and industry ready or not, we're doing it.
We're doing it. Here it is.
Here it is. Yep. And sometimes, like with the SCR system we have now, it was kind of good. Yeah. Like everything's kind of worked out pretty good. But if we go one level past this to the original DPF filters without the SCR component to it, which is selective catalytic regeneration,
something like
that, to just diesel particulate filters, that was a disaster. Those engines were horrible. Those years were terrible. yes, it was an EPA mandate, but it came because California was doing it. What has happened is California has said by, is it 2035?
Yes.
I think. By 2035,
Yes.
You are no longer allowed to purchase a diesel vehicle in the state of California and operate there. So the Advanced Clean Fleets, is it Advanced Clean Fleets? Is that what it's called?
ACF?
ACF?
Um,
Alcohol, combustion, and firearms?
I'm trying to find
No.
that. They just
It's
jumped Advanced Clean Fleets.
Advanced Clean Fleets. So
Yes.
the Advanced Clean Fleets was this idea that by 2035, I believe it was 2035, is it not 20? I think that's the date. 2035 would be the last year that they could sell diesel-powered vehicles in the state of California.
Yes.
So 2036, no more.
Does that mean civilian pickup trucks or just semi-trucks?
I think it's just commercial vehicles.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I'm not positive.
Okay.
It's very vague. Again, this is kind of breaking news. This is just
Sure.
Well, that's not breaking news, but what we're going to talk about is breaking news.
Okay.
So I don't have all my facts.
Sure.
I've got enough to be dangerous.
We're just going to say commercial vehicles.
So they said in 2036, no more sales of commercial vehicles. 2035 be the last year you can do it, and that would line up with their ban, I believe, on cars. Is cars not 2035
is for commercial. Is for vehicles. Yes.
So
Other vehicles.
what we're going to talk about doesn't affect that. 2035 cars sold in California will still be electric or hydrogen only. You will not be able to buy a gas-powered car in California after 2035.
Wow.
I know. But we're talking about trucks. So what they did was they said, okay, if you have a lot of trucks, we're going to call you a high-priority company. And starting in 2024, you will have to start slowly moving your trucks over to either hydrogen or electric. So starting in 2024, a large fleet, I don't remember the exact number, it's not many trucks, you will have to start buying electric or hydrogen only. So you won't be able to add any more diesel-powered trucks into your fleet.
Right.
Now, you can still run them, but you can't buy them.
Wow.
And their whole goal was, I think, by 2046 or something like that, to be completely phased out, no diesel-powered vehicles in the state of California, period. So it's a very advantageous goal. In reality, when you look at the lifespan of a truck, 10 to 15 years is about the healthy, profitable. Anything past that, you're really putting a lot of money in repair and maintenance. So it's hard to keep those kind of trucks running. Now, there's plenty of them out there. I know you're probably thinking like, well, I know my Uncle Joe has a 1984 International he still runs. Yes, there's plenty of them out there that still run, but large fleets, no one's running a truck over that many years old. So the 2046 date being, 10 years after the last that you could buy the internal combustion or internal diesel engine, it makes sense. Like that time frame does make sense, but it still seems very fast to those of us in the business. What they did was to be able to do that, they have to, kind of what Vince was alluding to earlier, they have to send this to the EPA and say, for our state, we want a waiver against your rule so that we can enforce this policy different than how you enforce it across the country. And they got the waiver on the cars. They did not get it yet on the Advanced Clean Fleets Act. And what they're talking about, or what they just did, that's breaking news, is they have withdrawn that request. They are no longer going to pursue this Advanced Clean Fleet initiative for 4 years.
Wow.
Now, that timing may sound a bit ambiguous.
It does sound that way, but if you dig deeper,
you'll find out that they're actually doing it from a very political purpose.
Very political.
They have looked at the previous Trump administration and saw what they will approve and won't approve. They have sat down together and realized there's no way this gets approved under Trump's EPA. And so rather than have it declined, because that's a whole nother world of if it gets declined and then they have to reapply for it,
Right.
they're just withdrawing it. They're going to sit on it for 4 years until he's out of office.
Wow.
and then resubmit.
And hope they have
If
a more favorable
administration. Yeah.
Which, in all fairness, I'm sure they would resubmit regardless who runs in the next 4 years because Trump won't be eligible anymore. So they're going to – anything's an unknown.
It is an
Whereas
unknown,
they feel
sure.
like with Trump, it's a
Sure.
known.
Well, his previous administration, like you said, already showed that his administration is not going to allow it this time either. That hasn't changed, right?
Correct, yeah.
So in 4 years, it depends on what that administration looks like based on their track record as well, whoever the president is, and then people that he appoints. So, they may or may not in 4 years, depending on what that administration looks like.
Yeah.
So really it all can be postponed.
It can all be. It's all been postponed at this point, and it really truly looks. That gives manufacturers additional 4 years to develop clean energy vehicles, zero emissions vehicles that right now are in limited supply in the commercial vehicle market. And then if you go into the locomotives, they don't exist. Right. So it gives manufacturers a little more time to work on that.
And this is vehicles that are only being purchased
in the state of California.
So you can still run a diesel truck in?
So, ish. So if you are a high priority fleet, even outside of the state of California, to run your truck in the state of California, you have to register with CARB, even though you're not registering, or even though you're not a California company, because you're such a large fleet. They're saying that, which is part of the EPA waiver thing, is it's kind of national, but not really.
Well, you also have to register any diesel engine, not a vehicle necessarily. You have to register the reefers that are on our trucks have to be registered with CARB.
So that's a new one, and that's actually related to this story.
Mm-hmm.
So I've read conflicting articles, and I'm waiting to see which is correct. I've read some articles that say that there is a thing called a TRU electrification something. So basically what they're saying is TRU, temperature regulated unit. So refrigerated truck, right? Or refrigerated trailer or refrigerated train car or whatever. They're saying that they want those all electric as well. So that obviously affects us since we run FedEx and we have a bunch of reefer trucks out there. So for a lot of us, when they first came out with this, they're doing the same phased-in approach. So starting this year or next year, I don't remember which one it is, we're supposed to, any new reefers we buy are supposed to be electric. And then we're supposed to, every couple years, rotate out 15% of our fleet and put electric on there. Where it gets really fun is that they don't exist. And I don't mean like production's down. I don't mean like
supply chain issues.
Yeah. I mean like Thermo King and Carrier go, we got nothing.
Yeah.
They don't exist. They don't exist. Thermo King has a prototype out now, and Carrier just released a prototype. None are big enough for the size boxes we have. Actually, that's not true. Carrier's isn't big enough for the size box we have. Thermo King's is, but it won't run off of a diesel-powered truck. It's only designed to run off an electric M2 and maybe a Rivian or something like that truck, or not a Rivian truck, that'd be funny. A tiny truck. Or it might
That's
be
a pickup truck, isn't
it
it?
is,
Exactly.
yeah. It might be a BYD truck maybe or something like that that it can run off of. That's the only two models it can run off of. So all of it, and you think about like our business with what we do across country with these refrigerator trucks hauling pharmaceuticals and what have you. So it's like, hey, well, what about we can just do smaller trucks? Well, think about all the Domino's locations in your city in California. Think about all the DiGiorno pizza trucks that you've seen and all the like small local bakeries that run these reefer trucks and stuff. They're running 20, 22-foot boxes, 24-foot boxes like we are, and there isn't a product that exists. It doesn't exist. And even on those levels, like a small refrigerated truck, like a 24-foot typical rider ransom, that kind of size truck, refrigerator truck, is probably around $160,000 right now. To get an electric M2 with a reefer on it, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $550,000.
Oof.
Easy money.
So it's dramatically more expensive. Now that price will come down, right? When Tesla first came out, they were it wasn't S when it first came out, like 108, something like that, 110.
They were up there,
Yeah,
yeah.
somewhere in
Yeah.
that range. Yeah,
And I guarantee, granted, the S is still in that range.
sure.
But
you have
A 3 is
yeah
36,000, 40,000.
40,000 ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With everything on it.
And if you want to go with a Leaf, or if you want to go with what's the new one Chevy just put out? I mean, those are even lower. So like we're seeing in cars, those prices are dropping fast. Even if you look at $100,000 for a Tesla, one of the nicer Teslas, $100,000 gets you a Ford Lightning, which has the same range and all the abilities of the Cybertruck. Plus, you can also buy, a Ford Mustang, a used one.
Exactly.
Like,
But you still have money
you
left
still have
over.
money left
Yeah.
over. You can buy a Hummer. You can buy a Hummer for the same price as a Tesla. Like
Yeah.
that market is drastically coming down in price.
Sure.
Is what I'm getting at. So it's going to happen the same with trucks. It just hasn't happened yet because this technology doesn't exist. There's a lot of us, or there's some of us, I should say, that think this might just be their way of stalling because they know they jumped the gun too fast. So, in other words, if it wasn't the Trump administration,
Right.
they would have found another reason to pause it or to stop it
Sure.
or to give it a little break. They have kind of like shown the industry their cards and what they're about to do. The industry is trying to catch up, but they realize, hey, there's not a solution here yet, but there's solutions coming, but they're not here yet. And so this is not the first time California's done this. California has put stuff out there before and pulled it back after having it out there for a little while. They have a kind of a track record of that. So there's a lot of us thinking, hey, this is what California's doing. It is a scare tactic, and they also got a lot of people to do some of what they wanted to
Sure.
get done. And for the rest of us, California's going like, all right, we understand. You need some more time. Thermo King, Carrier need to work this stuff out because the products don't exist. And guess what? If you can't get food at home, and I know there's some exceptions for food and stuff that they were talking about throwing out there, but it's not easy stuff to get. Just like when the DPF ruling came through California, you had to have a DPF filter to operate in California. They did give farmers an exemption and some municipalities as well, but those did eventually go away. Yeah, I think I do. I lean in that camp of like, I think this is just one of California's ways of stalling and saying, hey, we still want to do this, but we kind of recognize it's not possible. And so all the major manufacturers realize, hey, we got 4 years to figure some of this stuff out and get electrically changed over.
So are they fining?
No,
at
they're
some
not.
point?
They're not fining. As a matter of fact, the TRU and the Clean Fleets, they did not get their waiver from the EPA signed yet. So when it went to effect in 2024, they came out and said, we're not going to enforce it, but we will do it retroactively. So if you don't do it retroactively, we will come back and get our money. And then they went to court, and then they decided, you know what, we're not going to retroactively get our money. We will wait. So, like, recently, like I think it was September or August, they came out and said, hey, we're not going to do the retroactive thing anymore. Again, just within the last 24 hours, they've come out and said, we're completely withdrawing everything altogether. But that was the original thing, was finding if you're in the state of California, they just wouldn't let you register the truck.
Right.
So you'd have a truck, you couldn't use it. Like crazy. And what's really happened that's unfortunate is because, and they talk about it in these articles that we've read and researched on to get this information, is they have gone and scared all these people. So there's been a mad rush on 2024 trucks. All these people have gone out in 2025 trucks and bought all these trucks last year, thinking, all these big fleets, thinking it's going to be our last year to buy these diesel-powered trucks. So they've bought all these trucks in preparation for it, losing money and all this stuff, only to find out now none of that was necessary.
Wow.
Since they've withdrawn that, they don't have to, that's not the case anymore. So next year they can buy a diesel-powered truck in California, no problem.
So how does it equate to Hyfield? Again, can we run our trucks into California? And right now it sounds like maybe for 4 more years before they possibly take it back to the federal thing. And then again, you just mentioned that we're not getting fined, but was that originally what's supposed to happen if the FedEx trucks weren't complying with an electric?
So
Reefer?
here's where it gets interesting. Is California is doing what California does best, and they are not explaining what they consider a fleet.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
is a fleet a group of trucks that a large company like FedEx runs, FedEx Custom Critical, who we operate under, are they the fleet? Or is HYSG, who
Yeah.
operates 70 or so reefer trucks, is that the fleet? We don't have an authority. We're not a motor carrier.
Right.
We don't have any saying over that stuff. We lease our trucks to individuals, so individual companies. So, who is the fleet in that case? Every department of every state government that we work for says FedEx is the fleet, and we operate and maintain our trucks to what FedEx is held to.
Yeah.
California is refusing to say. They want the ability to go in and take on whoever they have to take on. Like, so there's like some smaller fleet owners within FedEx that have 3 to 5 trucks. They're going, hey, it doesn't pertain to us because we're so small. But what happens when the state of California goes like, oh, FedEx is the fleet? Now you're on the hook because you ran these trucks into our state that you're not allowed to. So there's been for the past year or two that we've been kind of working through this. And this is all behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
That we've been trying to figure out, and FedEx has been trying to figure out, and a lot of us are like watching webinars, and it's a lot. I know Don has had to put together several spreadsheets of data to be able to turn over to the state of California to make sure we're compliant. That has been an ongoing thing for the past couple of years, and it's so vague, no one knows. So what we did was we register all of our stuff to cover our own self, in case that we do go into California and they go like, oh, no, we want to see you this way or that way. Either way, we're covered.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we've been approached it. A lot of smaller companies, owner-operators and stuff. I mean, if you're an owner-operator operating under the FedEx truck with one truck under the FedEx's fleet, and you go into California and they say, oh, no, you can't be here. Here's a $10,000 fine. It's been very scary. And so seeing this at least get paused for 4 more years,
Yeah.
I think is great.
A little more research, too, maybe. Maybe they can sort out what a fleet is. Maybe more questions will be asked.
Oh, they're not going to do that.
Oh.
So it's exciting news. I'm very excited to see, that they're putting a pause to this because there has been so much vagary on what's going on and who's it applied to, who doesn't it apply to, how do we meet these goals? This equipment doesn't exist. How do we change something when it doesn't exist? Yeah, I did think it was interesting because this topic, Zucchini Bread, you sent us over and I did get several teams that reached out to me about this as well, and I think you've got one as well, and you got one as well, right?
Yep.
Jerry and Vince both got one. But Zucchini Bread, you sent over an article that I thought was really cool. It kind of merges in really nicely with this, doesn't it?
It does.
And it's about a Louisiana company, which we're based out of Louisiana. We're big-time fans of Louisiana. So I saw it, and I thought we'd check it out.
So, Louisiana company, Saya,
Yes.
right?
Is it Saya or Saya?
I've always heard it as Saya.
It's SAIA. So
We've
there
all
you go.
seen it on the
Okay.
road.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
There we go. Right.
And if you push the button on the side of the trailer, it tells you how to pronounce it.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Does it
Pretty
really?
cool. Yeah.
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 And if
I've
you
never
can't
gotten
reach
that
the
close
button
to a
because
truck.
you're driving, you use the QR code next to
Yeah,
it.
you do.
Oh, okay.
And it just speaks it.
Yeah.
Saya. Depends on where you're at in the country.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So
Anyways.
your article.
Louisiana company, Saya.
Yeah. So they've been testing out some of the Tesla semis.
Aren't we supposed to boo that? I don't know. We just talked about everything's pro diesel. No, I'm kidding. We love. I like electric. I think it has a place. Anyways.
That's a place. So they tested out comfort. They tested out range. They tested out payload capacity. And it scored pretty high. They didn't get as many kilowatt hours out That's not
I
right.
did. Yeah,
Per
that,
mile, they say we're hoping,
I did see that.
but it was pretty close. They said they got 1.73, and it was supposedly 1.6 when Tesla did its own testing. So it's pretty close.
And that's kind of like EPA mileage for your car.
That's what I was
Like,
about to say.
when you buy a brand new car, like Jerry, your car said you get like 38 miles per hour per gallon on the interstate, and you'd be really good.
Mm-mm. No, it says 31 highway and 21 city, I believe, and I think it's like 26 combined.
And how do you get on the highway?
I honestly don't know.
He doesn't ever drive.
I say it depends on
I
how
just drive.
fast
Yeah.
you
He's,
drive.
he's averaging
as
14
to,
right now, though. That's the problem.
I just drive.
Heavy
Yeah,
foot.
but we've all gotten that, right? You get a car.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's going to be a 30-mile-an-hour car.
And it's
per
not
gallon
that.
car. It's not that. Yeah.
But I mean,
Same thing.
that does come in pretty close though. 1.73 kilowatt hours per mile, based on the benchmark that Tesla had at 1.6 kilowatt hours per mile. But they're saying it's in line with the DHL trial. It well ahead of early Texas of 2 kilowatt hours per mile. But other companies that have tested the Tesla, NFI, Martin and Brower, are all in that same range. So
Yeah.
they're all getting very similar range
So
on
it's
the Tesla.
so it's getting better than what the industry thought it would get.
Right.
Mhm.
Not
But it's
quite
not
as
as good as Tesla.
As Tesla.
Well, Tesla's going to run that through there.
Well, all the
Ideal,
manufacturers do that.
perfect.
We know that.
Yeah,
You know, my iPad's supposed to get 85 hours on a full battery charge.
I
Okay.
don't know. At full
Okay.
brightness in the heat.
Right, exactly.
In the sun.
While running 15 videos at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, I think it all depends though, because you do trials, but is that really true life? Whatever. So
True.
that's what I think. It's only fair that it's off a little bit.
I didn't realize that a majority of the Tesla semis on the road are for internal use or for their major customer, as they put it, PepsiCo. I didn't know that. I guess I thought we were a little more advanced in the electric semis, but apparently we aren't. So
No, we're still really early on. So Tesla, I forget what their projection was for when they're going to put the semis on the road when they first announced them, but they kind of fell behind on that, which is not unusual. Pepsi was one of the first companies to put a large order in, and so far most of the semis have been going to Pepsi in California for a lot of testing because they're close to, well, where Tesla's headquarters used to be at the time.
sure.
So that's where most of their semis have been going. There aren't a whole lot of them on the road compared to other manufacturers, but Pepsi's been doing a lot of testing with them in and out of like Reno from Sacramento and San Francisco,
Sure.
where they're getting some range, but also getting the Donner, going up Donner Pass. So
Yeah,
they're
they're
getting
working.
that as well. So there's a good test area right there for Pepsi.
They're hoping to mass produce starting this year out of a new place in Nevada.
Rolling out
Beautiful.
50,000 new vehicles per year.
That's their goal.
And they're hoping to get into Europe and the rest of the world soon, it says here.
Yeah, Musk made that announcement not too long. Or not
Yeah.
announcement. I don't think it was an announcement. It
Yeah.
was just,
It was a very excited statement.
you know how they do these days. They don't really. Nobody announces anything anymore. They just half-handedly say something mid,
Right, exactly.
and then it's the announcement. It's no
announcement, yeah.
longer the.
Yeah.
I didn't know this fun fact, but medium and heavy trucks account for more than a quarter of national fuel use, despite representing only 4% of the vehicles on the road.
Sure.
Yeah, but that makes sense because think of the miles. Like
Yeah.
that's I don't like that percentage or that figure
Sure.
because it doesn't factor into the number of miles.
Right.
Now, if they would have said like car miles or vehicle miles, then it would have been different.
Yeah.
But that's not the case because one 18-wheeler does easily 150,000 miles a year, and some do 200,
Sure.
some do 100. It just depends on what industry you're in. Your car's not doing 150,000 miles a year.
No, I was
Right.
just going to say it's a 2014. It's got 180,000 miles on it in 11 years versus a truck that we put on the road, and 2 years later it's got 250 on it.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
One of our 2014 trucks. I mean, that'd be. I can't imagine what it'd be if we stopped those in the fleet. We don't anymore, but I just
How many trucks does Saya have? Roughly, do we know?
about 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
what the article says.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that part.
They've grown significant over the past few years. I mean, they were one of the people that bought a bunch of the
Yellow.
yellow terminals as well. Yeah. Oh, so this article is very opinionated,
Yes.
and so it's definitely very. I mean, the the company. Yeah, it's
Well,
very left leaning.
The article, the source of this article is the cool down.
Yes.
The cool down is a green energy
Initiative company.
Yes,
Our
exactly.
reporting agency.
So their entire platform does lean
Yes.
green and clean. So I expect that from the
Yeah.
cool down.
You definitely
Not a
see-
bad thing.
No.
But if you understand that that's
Where it's coming from.
the platform of this website,
Absolutely.
then you expect that to see that. So,
Well, and what I like too is everything at the top of the article is very fact and good,
Sure.
and it's only that last couple sentences that
Yeah.
show their agenda,
Yeah.
which is great.
I think there's a place for electric. We're not going to see it in long haul over the road trucks for quite some time. I think
I agree.
the companies that are testing them are using them at LTL, where they're doing hub to hub, and they have the facilities to charge. Pepsi's doing them on local routes as well. So we're not seeing anything going from California to New York in an electric vehicle in a fast amount of time. That's not the word I'm looking for, but efficiently. We're
Yeah.
just not seeing that in electric yet, and,
Well-
and they're working on it.
Yeah.
They're working on it.
Well, the benefit of having Saya didn't buy one truck; they bought two to test, right?
Sure.
And there's a reason. You drive one from one LTL terminal to the next.
Right.
You drop the trailers and the truck, charge the truck, grab the next electric,
Right.
drive it back to the other terminal,
Sure.
park
And
it,
you just
and you're done for
flip-flop
that
that.
driver's done for the day, and
Yeah.
you've charging both trucks. Like
Yep.
it's not like a mistake that they bought
No, it's
two
not.
like that.
It's not. It's planned.
Yep.
Is
And a lot
it-
of these companies, if you see them, their maps are very round robin, or it's very short out and backs.
Right.
And it's electric's great for inner city. I do. I'm a big fan of electric buses. The fact that we are still really pushing diesel inner city buses blows my mind, because you can do electric. They can run the city all day long, and then charge all night, and then
Right.
run the city all day long again.
Sure.
Zero pollution. I mean, how many of us have been next to the road and had a bus pass us, and it's like cough, cough, the smell, the smoke, or whatever. In electric, you can make that disappear,
Sure.
and the city doesn't have to buy electricity. The city doesn't have to buy gas or diesel or natural gas
Natural
or
gas,
anything like
yeah.
that. It makes sense. And plus, I mean, municipalities, no, they don't all have a lot of money, but government is more likely to give money to government. So,
Sure. Sure.
the federal government's more likely to give a local municipality or a school board or something like that money to buy those electric vehicles. And again, they only use electricity when they're running. So having to make several stops in town isn't burning through electricity. Now, air conditioning and heating is. So there is a degree of in the extremes, like in Laredo where you're running AC
all the time.
all the time,
Yeah.
you're killing your battery. Up in the north where you're running your battery heating up all the time, that definitely impacts it as well. So there are those that part needs to be worked out. But still, that's where I see the best use of it. Or garbage trucks. Garbage trucks is another example of horrible emissions because they're just going so slow, and it takes a lot of power to start it, and so they're wasting so much diesel when they start going, and so much emissions come out right when they start going, and then they're immediately stopping
Right.
because they're getting the next.
The start, stop.
Start,
constant
stop,
cycle.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the worst thing you can do. So electric eliminates that. And again, while they're dumping it, the garbage truck is using zero power. So I definitely think there's some applications right now that we can do to improve. And think about it, garbage truck city buses, that's in the city.
Sure.
Like that directly impacts everybody's quality of air.
Yeah.
So the over-the-highway truck running through Arizona right now, not really impacting nearly as much as the garbage truck and the recycling truck that passes in front of my house every twice a week, or the dump truck that comes through here, or the garbage, or the mail truck that goes through. I remember when that article came out that the U.S. Postal Service had abandoned, what was it like, half the order that they were going to do electric, they made gas instead
Right.
of electric.
Yeah.
I thought, like, what a short-sightedness of that. It's just, what a perfect chance to get a lot of emissions off the road, and they blew it. Like, that made me so angry when I saw that. I mean, I get it. They got to save money, but...
There's still such a thing as a oil lobby.
True.
That still wants their piece of the pie because they've got such an investment. But at some point, we've got to look at that and go, okay, I get it, big oil, but, let's look at other stuff.
Well, and that's slowly happening, right?
It is slowly happening. We're still a long way away from mass adoption of electric vehicles.
Yeah.
On the consumer level as well as the commercial level. We don't have the infrastructure for charging like we'd like to have. People still don't understand electric and its uses. They're still tied to internal combustion engines,
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, like, so many of these people that I know that I'm friends with that have sports cars or love sports cars and they hate electric. I'm like, we need to go for a ride in a real electric car.
Sure.
Not a $20,000 one, but like, let's go
Yeah,
do the $100,000
go out in a
Plaid,
Tesla Roadster,
or Tesla Plaid,
story.
and
Yep.
you will
Goes.
change
Yep.
your mind. But
And there's still a place for internal combustion engines, If you want to get out there in your sports car and spend the money on the fuel, go for it.
If you like the sound.
There you go.
who was it I saw? Might have been BMW or the Volkswagen Group was talking about. No, I'm sorry. It was it Cadillac? Might have been Cadillac. Anyways, they're talking about engineering the sound for their electric car, so that you still get that.
Yeah.
That's what Corvette did too.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, you get that like.
Rumble.
That rumble, yeah.
Oh man, I just think it's hysterical. Like, hear the rumble of my electric motor.
If my electric car has to have a sound, I want it to be the Jetsons. Yeah, I mean, come on.
I think if you send something to Musk, he probably would program that in for
Probably
you.
would.
Probably.
would.
You
I
put
can't be the first person to think about that, though.
the reverse is move, get out the way. Get out.
I saw a meme the other day that George Jetson turns 3 this year.
I did too.
That's funny.
Where's my freaking spaceship, and why am I not living in a
Yeah.
cloud city?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know why I loved the Jetsons growing up? Because I was a Star Wars nut, and I loved the Cloud City and the Empire Strikes Back. I always thought that was so cool. Well, that's enough talking about news. How's your week been so far? Melissa?
Cold.
Buttermilk?
Well, we recorded last Saturdays before we had gone on a 2-truck mission, you and I. That was a long 2 days.
That was a
Can
long
I tell
2
you?
days.
Look at your smile. It was not long for you.
Why
My
was
flight.
it not long for me? Oh,
It
well,
was
you
not
okay.
near as long as mine. I feel like I wasted Wednesday. I'm like,
You did.
Wednesday. Can I go back to bed and do Wednesday again?
Well, aren't Wednesdays for wasting?
Apparently, the best part of Wednesday was Rhoda, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Rhoda.
Rhoda
Yes.
at Chili's at the John Glenn Columbus Airport. She was the most amazing human ever for 5.5 hours of my life, and she hooked me up in a booth in Chili's, and I just sat tight. My flight got delayed 3 times, and then I rebooked to a much later flight. And it didn't make sense to come all the way home because it's about a 30-minute drive from the airport for 2 hours of my own home to go back then and redo check-in. And it just didn't – it was silly. But she hooked me up. She got me some complimentary chips and salsa. And I sat there and listened to some podcasts for my 1-hour flight at 6 o'clock. So at any rate, the drive was lovely. It was kind of nice to get back out and drive, 400 plus miles, and it was a beautiful sunny day.
We
We hit the snowstorms in between that last week.
Yep.
It just
we hit traffic in between the cities.
you
in between
commented
traffic.
on Indianapolis. You're like, I've never seen it like this before.
It was dead. It was dead. There was nobody.
It was before
It was very-
rush hour.
It was before rush hour. It was about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we just scooted right through there. I think we slowed all the way down to 55 miles an hour.
Wow.
It
Nice.
was, and that was only one spot, and then it was open again. Like it,
Maybe 3 miles worth. It wasn't very long.
Yeah, it wasn't very long
because
at
we
all.
exited.
yeah, it was great. Beautiful drive. I ended up right before that. So the day before that flight, I ended up getting a little sick.
You did.
And not very sick, just a little bit sick.
Yep.
And then I got worse the day of the drive, or the day
Of the
before
travel.
the day of the travel. And in the airport, I was like, I don't feel really good. And then I flew to Detroit. And in Detroit, I'm like, I really don't feel good. And then I flew on to Missouri, and that's when we came into land, my ear wouldn't pop, and I was like tears coming down my face. It was hurting so bad. I mean, as soon as I got to the airport, the first thing I did was drop my bag down and bust it open and grab Advil and a decongestant to try to like please something.
Sure.
Yeah.
The good news is, 7 hours later, it cleared up enough where it wasn't painful, but it was still felt like I had a pillow stuffed in my ear.
Right.
And then the next day showing up, and there was a little bit of drama at the pickup, but we're not going to get into that.
No, but I did ask him. I'm like, am I your bad luck charm? I'm going to stop coming with you to pick up,
She did.
pick up new trucks. I
She
told
did.
him that because when we went to Dallas last time, it wasn't bad luck. There was a shift in plans for this is
Yes.
last year when the three of us went, Vince, I, and Patrick. But there was a shift in plans, and I ended up actually staying and taking a truck to AA
And then fly
and
home.
flew right back. So literally it was an all-day airport adventure for me. But
Maybe you and airports are bad luck.
so I don't
Could
know.
be.
I
No,
don't
no
know.
more flight dates.
At
for her.
any rate, we did end up leaving St. Louis with 2 trucks, so which was the goal and the plan.
And what was super nice was while I was inside handling the drama, you actually were able to go outside. You started pre-tripping both the trucks, and you got the signs put on the truck
did.
and did everything to make us DOT legal. So when I came out there, my pre-trip was abbreviated because you'd already handled most of it. So that was super nice.
I didn't want to get home at midnight.
Yeah, and then we hit the road, and I remember telling you, like, we're going to stop because I needed water. I was like, we're going to need to stop as soon as we get to the first truck stop. And the first truck stop was like 3 miles down the road.
And it was a
And,
Love's.
and it was a
I'm like,
Love's, which is where we go. And you were like, you want to stop here? And I'm like, no. I was like, and you said, like, oh, you want to get some miles underneath you or something like that or
Yep.
whatever. And I'm like, how are you doing? She's like, I'm good. So I was like, let's roll on. And we ended up rolling on to like,
It was a pilot that we ended up stopping at. That
And
was a bathroom break
was
more
it-
than anything.
it wasn't Effingham. What was it? It was, what's in the middle of Illinois?
It might have been.
Was it Effingham?
At any rate, we ended up. He's
Yeah.
like, really? You can't make it to Terre Haute? And I'm like, how far is Terre Haute?
Oh, it was Effingham.
He's like, an hour and a half. Nope. The bladder's not going to make it an hour and a half. So we stopped at the pilot. He got water.
And
We
I
did
was
just kind of a double check. We picked up some washer fluid because I had noted that both of our fluids were rather low in the trucks. And then just in case we needed it, 'cause
Yep.
who knew what the weather was.
well, we were between those two storms, so
We
we,
were.
didn't know
Yeah.
if we were going to catch them.
So, and I think after that we made the one other stop on the other side of Indianapolis, and we were pretty golden. We
Yeah.
literally entered Franklin County or Columbus, Ohio outskirts. And while the sun was down, there was still a light glow of the sunset
Yes.
in my side mirrors. And I'm like, we kind of got back before the sun went down.
Of course, pulling in a storage lot,
It
it's
was dark.
completely
Yeah,
dark.
completely dark. Yeah, no lights. No.
But it was good. I did catch your cold.
Sorry.
We're going to blame it on Kelly McDonald. I hear that's where it originated from.
We're going to call her patient 0.
But all in all, my weekend was great. If anybody wants to know, zucchini bread, and Vince and I, we went and tried a new coffee place out in Plain City.
Yes.
Looking forward to going back. It was really good.
Well, at least it's close and convenient.
Right next to Costco.
Well,
It was kind of a
it's
2 for
about
1.
5
Oh.
miles past Costco.
Oh, Plain City.
Yeah,
Yes.
Plain
I'm
City.
sorry. I was thinking, what's the city over there next to where Fight is at?
Jefferson.
West Jefferson.
West
West
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Well,
Okay.
there is a sign on that exit
For Plain City.
City, West Jefferson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Plain City's
Yeah.
really not that bad.
It's
then.
not that
I
bad,
retract
no.
my sarcastic
It's beyond
comment.
Costco.
It's beyond
Just,
Costco.
just beyond Costco.
Plain
Yeah.
City is just beyond Costco.
Yeah.
Can you get coffee inside of Costco? Have you tried that yet?
No,
You can
that's
buy
not a
coffee
specialty
beans
shop.
inside of Costco.
True, but
What was it called?
Snack
Rooster
bar should
Hen?
have it, shouldn't it?
Hen and
Red.
the Chick?
I don't think
Red
they do.
Hen?
Was it Red Hen?
Red Hen.
It was good. I'm shouting them out. They were good. Boy, they were busy.
They were busy.
yeah.
They are
Yeah,
We got
the
next
there
time
place
we're
just in
to
going
be.
early.
Yeah, we got there just
Or-
in time.
So it was good.
It was
It
good.
was good.
Oh, it
It
Delicious.
was good.
So finally, you go to a good one and you don't take us.
Well,
Noted.
you
Well,
were
how do
sick.
we
So
know?
anyways-
You were sick.
You
we were
were
sick.
offered.
You decided to stay home and
I did get that
yes,
text.
And-
it was a
yeah.
safe decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was Saturday morning. I did get that text message of how are you feeling,
Yeah.
and because I felt pretty good Friday night. Like we still socially distanced and didn't get together,
No.
and I was like, oh, you were chatting back and forth. I'm like, okay, let's see how I feel tomorrow. And Saturday morning, I woke up and I'm like, it's not happening.
Which is fine.
and we can't take Jerry to new coffee places. Jerry's a coffee snob. We can only take him there once
Tried
we
and
go there
true.
and tried it, and we know we
Tried
like
it a few times.
Right, and we hope and pray that
We'd
Jerry
go back
likes
to
it and
that.
Jerry
Yep.
approves.
Do you
Yeah,
go to
so-
new coffee places, or are you just a Starbucks fan, Jerry?
I'll go to new coffee places. We just don't
Don't,
get out that
yeah.
often. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was cold this past weekend, so I just stayed in. and
We
ate-
had I needed meat in the freezer for the week, so I'm like, we're gonna go past Costco.
I stayed home and played PlayStation all weekend.
Ooh, did you win?
Maybe it wasn't the kind of game where you win. Maybe it's a quest kind of game. I'm just
Yeah.
speculating. I don't know.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
Could be Boggle.
I'm more into puzzle games, horror,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
role playing.
There you go.
Did y'all know he was a gamer?
No.
I did not know.
I
Not
did-
until we were there for Christmas and his mom bought him something for his PlayStation or something.
Well, I didn't even know that. When did y'all talk about that?
Christmas when we were at his house.
When I was there.
talking about the gifts his mom gave him. Yeah, we rode together, so
I might have been
You were
making
there.
green beans at that time.
you may have been. You're right.
So-
you may have been. I think you were counting out the dried onions.
I
Make
think
sure
it
you
was-
had the right amount.
I think it was funny. I showed up. So like we got together at their house. Is this a secret or no?
No.
Okay.
I think we've already
We-
talked about it
I think we did too.
last
but
weekend.
we got together at your house and I rolled up and we were there several hours early to play games. And I asked you like, can I borrow your stove for the green beans? And you said yeah. I said cool. So I show up with the green beans uncooked, the raw onions, the like all my ingredients, all my accoutrement, and
All 2 ingredients.
3. He had the salted pork this time.
That's right. He did. Yes.
and
Special Christmas version.
there was more than 3, and I go there, and Don's like, I thought you were going to bring, like, done green beans, and we were just going to keep them warm. And I'm like, no, I just figured we cook them now. I mean, it's a lot easier to bring it all over in parts and pieces than it is to have to figure out how to get liquidy beans to your house. And I don't have – so my mom had all this stuff, and now I understand why she had it. All like Tupperware with, like not Tupperware, I'm sorry, Corningware.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like these porcelain
Yep.
dishes,
Yeah.
but they all had these rubber lids that would snap on,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
she has like all this stuff to be able to go places
Transport.
and transport. I got none of that.
The little 3-quart Instapot would be good for your green beans because you don't have to use it as an Instapot. You could use it like as a crock pot, as a warmer.
Mhm.
But it has the lock lid, so you could just pick up and travel around wherever you want and nothing spills.
How many people how many beans or how many people could I feed with that, you think? Because I'd like something that because typically if we get together, there's 6 to 10 of us.
It would.
So,
it's enough.
it would do- okay.
It's the size of the container is about what you use with your
Okay.
bigger pan.
All right, because beans, for those of you that don't know, green beans are kind of like my
Your
brain,
specialty.
my brain
They
to
are your
Thanksgiving.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
well,
one of
next
y'all,
time
if
you
one
do
of
it,
y'all makes green beans better than me, I'll give over the reins.
no.
but-
Next time you do it, ask. I'll remember to loan you mine and see if it works for you, and then you'll know.
Yeah.
If it's something that would be worth the purchase.
And then I'll have to find out if we have if the budget allows.
Yeah. That would be
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Zucchini bread. How goes it here? You've been
How
here.
goes it?
Well, you and I were talking today that you're at like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I'm still here.
woo.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you feel
excited.
you've accomplished anything?
A few things. There you go.
Crickets. That's all I hear. Do you have the cricket
I was waiting
button
for
over
you
there?
to elaborate a little
Right?
know.
bit.
Yeah. Just. It's probably best.
That's probably best. Oh, man. I was actually talking to Kelly, McDonald, Patient Zero, as we affectionately call her.
Yes.
And I was telling her how I felt bad because as soon as you came on board, I was already on a cruise in the middle of the ocean. So for the first 3 or 4 days, I didn't even get a chance to really talk to you or hang out or anything. And then come back and what did we do? It was like
You were sick.
It was get
Sick, and
sick,
then
go get a truck, go get
Yeah.
another truck. Like all these, like I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst welcome to the company there could be, especially being your role is going to be working so closely with me and Eric. Kelly's like, she's like every day working with Jerry or Kayla or me or Melissa or go in the yard with Vince or whatever. She's like, by the time you finally do get to catch up with her, she's going to have this great bed of knowledge that she already knows so that hopefully it'll be an easier transition. I'm like, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So you got high praise from Kelly,
Well, thank
is
you.
what I'm saying.
I've been
Yes.
trying.
She did some.
Learn some of the little things, right?
Yeah.
So I've got, like she said, an idea of getting to this side of the business as opposed to just being the driver's side of the business. You know, learning the different side
We
makes a difference.
We definitely operate our company a lot different than someone who's operating a company from the cockpit of their truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She
It's-
was sending back dishes today, satellite dishes. Maybe there was a misorder,
Oh,
and
no.
she needed some tape, and we scrounged through the junk bucket that we've got.
There was no tape in the junk drawer?
Yeah, it wasn't enough,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
she had duct tape, white duct tape, and purple duct tape to seal the boxes with. Guess what color she went with?
Purple.
Of course, she's a FedEx.
Duh.
Purple, yeah.
That's
That's my
Jeez.
favorite color.
I'm like, she's
too.
shipping them FedEx. That would be funny, right? I looked over at the boxes. I'm like, oh, you want purple, huh?
Yeah,
Huh.
we've got to break that.
It's red and black.
Dedication.
It's
that
red and
dedication.
black
Red and
now.
black. Red and
It's
black.
red and black.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
I needed the clear for the label, so
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I had enough that the label wouldn't get
Yep.
destroyed. So
Cool.
I was giving her a hard time.
Yeah, that was a weird situation that happened. And then
It was.
That company, I give props to that company. And I do look forward to doing more business with them because we're several weeks past the return policy, and they still made it right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it wasn't.
I'm glad I opened that up.
I'm glad you did too. It was a mispick. So we ordered these satellite domes in white, and they sent us to them in black.
Oof.
And all the trucks are white, so
Yeah.
a black dome would look kind of silly up there.
Yeah. And
So
the pick list did say white.
yeah, everything
those
said
are
white,
black.
and they made it right. They sent us the new ones, asked for the old ones back, didn't charge us anything. Like
Yep.
great customer service.
Yep.
Nice.
Big time props for them. Look forward to working with them some more. But yeah, cool. Well, anybody got anything else?
Eric, you got anything? I
Nope.
haven't heard you say anything yet.
Not this week.
Not this week. All right. Well, in the meantime, if there's anything we're forgetting to say, Jerry will chime in right now.
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Caught me off guard.
There's a little bit of a lag.
I should have known it was coming. Comes every week. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. It really does help us out with the algorithm. And a lot of you are watching but not subscribed. I did want to throw out here at the end that we actually hit our most downloads on the audio version.
Wow.
Wow. Yay.
Big props
So
to everybody.
We got to 3 finally.
In 1 week, the audio version hit 100 downloads.
wow.
Nice.
In
Wow.
1 week.
That's awesome.
So that
Well,
was really, really great.
Zucchini bread. People are interested. They want to know how
They
do
want
it.
to. They want to know how she,
I know.
how she sounds.
If you're interested in learning more about Hyfield and everything that we have going on over here, make sure you check us out at hyfieldtrucking.com. Give us a chat over there online. You can talk with recruiting. You can give us a call at 833-HYFIELD or 833-493-4353. And one of our lovely ladies in recruiting would love to speak to you and give you all the information you require.
Option 1.
Option 1, Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions for the show, reach out to us at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. And Mr. Patrick will be happy to respond to you because he gets that. And
I will. If you have anything for me, just send it right there. It's easy peasy. Access to the talent
The Outer Belt.
The
talent.
talent.
At the Outer Belt Podcast
Doug.
At
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
I always forget that at Gmail part.
It's important.
Well, it's
It is
easy to
important.
forget. That's the thing.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
until next week, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Everybody stay safe and make good decisions.
Keep those wheels a turning. You go around the circle. He's last.
No, he says
Oh,
it.
he does say
He
it
does
now,
say
doesn't
it.
he?
I don't know what.
I
Say
forget
his
the order.
line.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
again,
wow.
you caught me off guard.
Don't leave money on the
Literally
table.
looking like Mom.
That sounds familiar, strangely enough.
Oh,
We're
what'd
having-
you say?
I said he's supposed to say, "Don't leave money on the table."
I said keep those wheels a turning. He didn't even catch
I
it.
didn't catch
He didn't catch it.
I'm waiting on you to say you're.
That's the reason why I was like, wait a minute.
He did that on purpose. I thought
did.
you were going to roll with it.
I did.
And don't leave money on the table.
Woo!
Right.
Do we want to redo that?
No.
No, let it roll.
Let it roll.
It seems silly. It's
No.
that was
silly.
a lot.
It's
that
very
was a
silly.
We
lot.
are silly.
Oh,
It's
we're
the end.
silly.
If they're still listening, they're dedicated hardcore.
That's right. Good
We
night.
love them.
Play.
Exactly.
Cue the music. Good
All right.
night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Till next week.
Bye.
Good night.